she's performing there. And he said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by performing? And she said, well, you remember when your sister used to sing around the house and everything? She says, well, she's a singer. She's really a singer, and she's performing with James Brown. And he was just like, oh my God, he could not believe it.
I step out on faith and I gave my notice. And I'm crying, y'all, because I gave my heart and my soul on that job. Because that was my passion. And sometimes our passion is really not our calling. It's just a passion.
When they say when it rains, it pours. It poured, but I didn't realize that the pour was on purpose. The pour was actually moving stuff out the way, moving people out of my path that didn't belong in my circle anymore.
Yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. And he looked at me, he was like, this little girl, how old is she?
He said, this little girl can sing. Look,
This little girl can sing.
Yeah.
Queen, this is your girl, Minister Nakita Davis, the proud CEO and founder of Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, the #1 Christian publishing house in the land. And I'm excited to host your next episode of Success Leaves Clues. We got my girl, my glow getter, woman of faith, mover, shaker, Tiffany D. Bell in the house. How are you, Queen?
I am well excited to have an opportunity to sit and chat with you.
Yes, and the queens are definitely excited to have you in the building. So as all of my queens, I want you to share a little bit more about you, where you're from, what do you do, and how do you impact women in this season?
Okay, well, again, my name is Tiffany Bell. I'm located on Gulfport, Mississippi, originally from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I love being able to empower and equip women to make positive life choices. And so regardless of what we're talking about, the woman as a mom, as a wife, or as an entrepreneur, women that are out, just making things happen in the community, I love being able to connect with people and encourage them in that way. And so one of the primary ways that I'm able to do that, just as a nonprofit director, I run a pregnancy center here in Gulfport. And so that's just all about, helping people navigate through difficult situations, especially in regard to unplanned pregnancies. And so, whenever that situation happens, women are typically very fearful, they're afraid, and they're, just looking for a really quick fix. And so one of the things that I love about what we do is that we provide a space for women to be able to be heard, a place where they can just share their fears, their anxieties, wherever it is that they're at. We love being able to embrace themselves, to help them to embrace themselves and the plan that we believe ultimately that God has for them, that He loves them unconditionally and that He is willing to help them through that. And so I love, one, being able to connect people to people, being able to connect people to resources, and then being able to connect them to God and His plan that He has for their lives. And so that's one of the many things that I do. The second thing that I enjoy doing is, again, as a nonprofit director, I encounter people on a regular basis that have nonprofits. However, they're having difficulty, putting together a fundraising plan, helping them to build their donor base, helping them to build their team so they, again, can help, get the word out on their mission. And so for the past year or so, I've been really working hand in hand with nonprofit directors and people who are looking to establish nonprofits by coaching them one-on-one. And then finally, the last thing that I really just finished up with was Success Women's Conference. conference. And so with that conference, again, we are equipping and encouraging women. We're inspiring them to connect, to the vision that they have for their lives, and equipping them to be able to really put a plan together and to move forward in that. And so, I know that's a lot, but, I love what I do, and all of them really, no matter what, when it comes to, again, connecting people to people to resources, people to God, whether I'm doing that, inside of my place of business or in Walmart, it's all the same thing. And so I love what I do.
Well, it is obvious, Queen. First of all, bright, beautiful smile, your heart on your sleeve. It's obvious that you want to help women soar with your nonprofit, or the business, for what you do personally, in this last event that you did. So you're definitely a connector queen. One of my fellow connector queens. I love that. So talk a little bit about the importance of having those genuine connections, no matter what you're doing, whether it's your nonprofit, your business, your workspace, whatever. Talk about those genuine connections and how they've helped you elevate in this season, and how you use that to help others elevate in this season.
So whenever I think of connecting, instantly I just think collaboration. Again, I feel like as humans, we were built and made not only by God for Him, but I believe that we were meant and built for us to help, again, connect people to Him. And so I've had some really great mentors, and I have some really great business partners who really had a really clear vision. And so with their clear vision and just seeing how that aligned with my heart, for me, I was just like, hey, regardless of what's happening out in the world, whether we're talking COVID, whether we're talking, business closures, whatever, being able to hold the vision that they have and seeing how it works for me. And then, us being able to kind of walk and navigate through this thing together, it really has opened up many doors for me as well as them. And so again, when it came to success, one of the things that we needed to do with that conference was, we could no longer do an in-person event. We had to figure out a way, to still offer the stage to, 100 plus speakers. We had over 130 different presentations that were given, and able to connect, with Dr. Frazier, Les Brown, some really great and influential people. We were able to take that conference and turn it into a virtual space. And so creating that virtual platform. So again, people are able to connect and lean in and hear, one, what God has planned for them; two, that they can do the thing that they in their hearts they really want to do; and three, that it's okay to invest in themselves. That was that for us this year. That was my primary heart in wanting to connect and help people to know, hey, don't let COVID, don't let, none of these things hold you back. You still have purpose, even with COVID.
That's so good. The power of connection, the human connection, and that's the crazy part. Even though we're all digitized now, right? Even we're doing this via Zoom, and your conference, wildly successful, that you and the women that you partner with were able to complete and successfully do. Even though we're digitized, there's still something about the human touch, the element of the human touch that is so needed, and people need that. So no matter what business, nonprofit, I don't care what you do, if you can incorporate that tastefully, and it's genuine and it's authentic, then you really have something that you can run with. And I hope y'all picking up these clues, because I feel like sometimes we can be in a season as women, the world at times has tried to pit us against each other, as if we're competition. We know collaboration wins every single time. If I can lock arms with you, you can lock arms with me, and we connect. I mean, who knows who we know, who we can influence, who we can impact. And that's exactly what you do, really. If we look at the mantra of your life, that's what you do. And it's a beautiful thing. So what words of encouragement would you give to another queen who says, okay, this year has been difficult. I really feel like it was just me and Jesus. Okay. How would you encourage her to begin to navigate and get into, quote unquote, those circles where she can be enriched, where she can grow, where she can live out her potential? How would you encourage her to say, okay, I'm going to get connected, even though she might be apprehensive?
Well, I think, just from my own personal experience, I know that I'm naturally a very shy person. And with my shyness, I see that look. With my shyness, I sometimes that, I become my own worst enemy. Like, just my own limited self-thinking will, sometimes I'm the wall. Like, it's not that there are people who block me out. It's not that there's not opportunity. It's really changing the way that I think and believe in myself, and recognizing that, I am my greatest commodity. Like, it's okay to invest in yourself. It's okay to lean in and follow that voice, like aligning your life with the voice that you hear in your heart, giving yourself permission to move. I think, like, that's the first thing she needs to do. She needs to believe in herself, and she needs to lean into that voice, and then and give herself permission to move. And then once, you have your mind, once you've kind of reset your mind, at that point, I am not afraid to ask anybody for anything. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no. But, and I find that 9 times out of 10, the things that I'm concerned and I'm worried about, especially when it comes to connecting to people and being able to get the resources that I need, 9 times out of 10, people are willing, and if they aren't willing, then they know someone who can. And most times it's not even about them not being willing. It's just more so, it's like how to. And so I just make myself open to being able to the yes, and I make myself open to the no. But I am determined that no matter what wall is there, I'm going to find a way around it. So, just really believing in herself and giving herself permission to believe and to invest in herself, leaning into that voice, and then not taking no for an answer. That no just means I got to find another door. That's just not the right door for now.
Good. I love that. You said, I am my greatest commodity. Come on, yes, queens. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are worthy, and you are your best asset, right? And I'm not talking about just this right here, which I know you beautiful queens.
Right. That spirit inside, Jesus, when he died, that he made the greatest investment there on the cross for me. And so I'm just backing up what he's already did.
That's it. That's it.
Aligning myself with his purpose and with his vision and what he started thousands of years ago. I'm just aligning myself with it and moving in that power, moving in that authority, moving in what I honestly believe that he desires for all of us anyway, that we would prosper, that we would be in good health, that our soul would prosper, that he says that he has led us into, 2 Corinthians 2:14, he always leads us into victory. Hey, victory is waiting. It's just, I just got to go out there and take it.
Come on, queen. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. It is so good and it is so true. It hits different when you know who you are and whose you are. You can begin to tap into that authority and that power that he's giving you. And it's not from a place of you're better or, everybody else is peasants or any of that foolishness, but it's that you were born to soar. Like, literally, he's giving you wings to soar because he's going to get the glory. Give him the glory. He will give you the victory. I'm a witness. Tiffany's a witness. All the queens that have been on here are witnesses to that. So I absolutely love that. And you said, give yourself permission to move, because some people don't give themselves permission to move. I love that. I feel like you just gave us 3 points that could totally be your next conference. But anyway, that's just the way my brain thinks. She knows I've had an opportunity to work with this queen for a little bit. So that's the way my brain thinks, but I love that. That's so good. So when you think about obstacles that you actually have had this year, what were some that you're willing to share, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
So probably, again, just because we're just coming out of Success Women's Conference, just coming out of that, that's just fresh on the brain for me. But, for us, a big obstacle was moving not only from an in-person conference, but moving it, making it into a virtual platform, even here with my nonprofit. Our traditional way of fundraising this year, it has to move from face-to-face interaction, into a virtual format, and in doing that, just recognizing what the benefits of that would be. And so, again, it's really about a mind shift. Not so much focusing on all of the things that we can no longer do, but really keying in and recognizing what things would be easy to make the shift, what things might be difficult, but hey, you know, developing a plan and putting a process in place that will allow us, you know, to bring the people that we have with us already, but seeing the opportunity to be able to expand and reach more people because of the fact that it's a virtual event. You know, we are fundraising. I can now reach the whole world. I would not have planned a virtual event had it not been for COVID. I would not have. When it comes to fundraising for, again, my nonprofit, I realized that, hey, I got to figure out another way of going about doing it. And I refuse to see it as a negative. I refuse to see it as a negative. This is a good thing. And, you know, all the many positive things that I've heard people say from the very beginning of COVID setting in, that they've had to, they've been faced, just like you're saying, with obstacles and challenges. But without that obstacle, without that challenge, we would not have thought to do business a different way. An interesting thing is earlier this week, again, you know, I heard Dr. George Fraser talk, and he said that, you know, with every assignment that God gives, he gives an obstacle as well. Like, it's not smooth sailing, it's just not just go out and do blah, 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 and you're not going to have any issues. No, it's more like wait to see what the issue is going to be. But when that obstacle comes, I'll be there with you. And so for us, again, this year, it's just being intentional to look for the positive that can come out of COVID, and then putting a plan together, getting the people together, and being able to move forward fast and quick and without hesitating. You know, if I'm okay to run into a brick wall, but I can guarantee you, I'm going to pull out the sledgehammer. I'm going to find a way to tear that wall down. And so again, you know, just really this year's all been about just shifting your mindset. It's just shifting that mind and not seeing the negative, but looking for a way, you know, being positive and just looking for a way around whatever roadblocks come up, because they are going to come.
That, again, so good. My daughter used to watch a show called, hopefully I get it right, I think it's called Teen Titans Go. I don't even know what the show was about. It's like a little cartoon. Okay. Whatever. She just turned 13. And I remember they said something prolific. It was crazy. I think I was washing clothes or doing something in the house. And I heard the little guy say, he said, when you embrace your limitations, you master your capabilities. And that just like, like literally I was probably washing dishes, folding clothes. And I was like, And so I went back and rewound it again, and I wanted to hear it again. And it ultimately became like my tagline at work at the time when I was still working for a corporation. And I put it at the tagline with my signature, because I love that. When you embrace your limitations, you absolutely can master your capabilities. In other words, you don't know what stock you're made of. You know, people will tell you, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Or, well, until you've been tested, boo-boo. Okay, let's just keep it 100. Until you've been tested, how do you know? Well, this is a time of testing, and you have some that come out sharper after going through the fire, and you have some that, you know, it was an area of opportunity. But it's totally up to you how you visualize it. What is your mindset? Am I winning? Am I losing? Is this an opportunity for me to shift up and to the right? And so I love that you took that and you said full steam ahead, even if I have to bring out the sledgehammer. I'm gonna do this wall. But you gotta think like that. It's an absolute mindset. Like, okay, I know the obstacle. I know what I got. I know what I don't got. I know what funds I have. I know what funds I don't have. I know what resources I have. I know what I don't have. But I'm still gonna do it anyway.
Yes,
right. And trusting God to do it. Yeah.
Recognizing that the purpose that you're working towards, that purpose is always going to be bigger, or it should always be bigger than the obstacle anyway. So I'm still aiming. You know what I'm saying? That obstacle, it's just a small step. It might seem big right there in the moment because you're standing you're standing directly in front of it. But, you know, take a step back and you'll have vision to see over that obstacle, and then you can make your way around it. So, you know, one of the things that I like before COVID, there's no way, Nakita, I've always been the shy girl that would go stand on the wall. I fought going online, doing virtual anything. You know, it took me a while, like before I would even do my first Zoom, I was like, now I'm like, nope. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Let me just hop on. Let me do this. I'm telling you, because I even think about, you know, for myself, as a kid, I don't know where it got in my head that I was not tech savvy. I'm talking about as a child, like, oh, no. And I would say that, like, oh, no, somebody else, the computer, I am extroverted, so I can pop out in front of people and I can shine and do boop, 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 boop. But as far as in the techie, oh, give that to so and so and so. And it's so crazy how over the years, even before COVID, but just a few years before, just really deep diving into my business and publishing and all the things that I do, how God just was like, okay, you got more time than you got money at this time. So you're going to have to learn, Queen. And so just pushing me out there into it. And it's like, wow, like Nakita, of course, all the glory belongs to God, but I am in amazement, like, wow, Lord, you've equipped me. Like, I know how to do this now. Matter of fact, I'm teaching other people how to do this now. And like you couldn't have told me that 10 years ago. I'd be like, girl, please, child, boo. No, ma'am. But now to know that I can and you can, and Queen, if you're listening, you can too. So don't allow your self-limiting beliefs or what your mama said or your daddy said or the kids said when you were a child to stop you, to hinder you from doing and being all that God has called you to be. It is going to call for you to shift and to learn some new skill sets. And I love how you said, I know you run your nonprofit. Matter of fact, I wanted to deep dive into that. How do you coach, or who do you coach? Is it other folks that are looking to start their nonprofit, or what do you actually do in coaching them to be better in this season? Talk a little bit more about that, because I know that's huge in what you do.
So typically I connect with either nonprofit directors or people who have an idea to launch a nonprofit that is 5 years and under. So fairly new nonprofits. A lot of times, and I find that people are really excited to get the nonprofit started. They'll start on their paperwork, which is a beast within itself. But then they run into the roadblock of, building their teams. Again, recognizing how to get things done on a very small budget. How do you even get people involved and, being able to communicate what your mission is, building awareness so that you're able to get more people connected to the team. So again, that you can do more in the community. The importance of a community assessment, recognizing what the needs are. How are people going to be able to connect to the mission that you have? What obstacles will they encounter as they try to connect with you? So I really try to help either nonprofit directors or founders, in building their vision, putting together a plan, and then dealing with the roadblocks that they would typically, encounter within the first 5 years. Board development. A lot of nonprofits, they have boards, but their boards are sometimes not engaged. And just recognizing there are various different types of board. There's, boards that simply oversee, and then we have working boards, and recognizing, the difference between the two and when you can transition from one to the other. I really just try to help nonprofits develop a fully developed plan that will help to spread awareness, develop a core team, and then effectively communicate to the community, to their donors and their team members.
I love that. That's so good, because you're right. Anything is new, folks are so excited. Oh, yes, I got mine.
Yes.
Whether
Yes.
they got incorporated or now they got the 501c3, honey. Yes, honey. Tax the. So, they're super excited, and then it fizzles and you don't hear about it anymore. And I do not believe it's because they lost the heart. I do not believe it's because they're no longer wanting to make an impact. Many times it is because of the resources, whether it's the money, getting the funding, like you spoke earlier about fundraisers that your team does, or it is, I don't have the manpower. It's all on me and I'm working a full-time job or whatever. And it's like, I just can't, the burnout. And what people don't realize, the enemy wants to either have you not walk into your calling at all, or he wants you to be delayed and stumble, right? So not being able to get the resources, becoming burnt out over the situation. He wants that too, because then he can, okay, it's the same difference. You're still not walking in the calling because you stopped. So getting help, saying, I need help, getting with queens like Tiffany, who's an expert at this. This is what she's done for many, many years and has been successful in it. Look, ask for help. So let's talk a little bit about that. The importance of recognizing when you need help. Okay, this is out of my wheelhouse. This is not my genius zone. And actually taking those steps to getting or investing, okay, you guys, because everything is not free. I love my queens. I do, but everything is not going to be free. Some things are going to require a sacrifice for the greater good, for the greater calling. You're going to have to get in your pocket, and that's okay, because God is going to bless you if it's aligned with his will. So talk to them a little bit about recognizing when you say, you know what, I need help, and two, how to go about getting that help. What does that look like for you, and how can you encourage them to do the same?
So for me, I have always chosen my friends based upon trying to find the right way to say this, but I've chosen to surround myself with people that I really consider to be smarter than me. You know, there's just something in them that I see that I like and I want to learn. And I've done this, you know, since middle school. I've surrounded myself with people that I felt like were going places. I could see that there's just something about them. And so I really firmly believe in, you know, making sure that I have mentors around me that can invest in me, you know, and I feel like, and I am willing, like, please don't think that I'm saying, hey, I want to select her based on what she can give to me. No, it's a give and take. It's a give and take. I do feel like relationships, you know, that's something that I feel like I'm good at. It is maintaining good long-term relationships with people and being willing to sow into people. And people are naturally, they're going to want to sow back into you. And so just recognizing, one, you know, what my weaknesses are and being okay with my weaknesses. And again, like I said before, I have no problem making an ask. I'll ask, you know, and people typically are willing to invest back. And another thing, like you were talking earlier, as far as investing, I really believe in having, you know, there's mentors, but then there are also coaches. And so, you know, it's, you know, it is investing in myself by getting a mentor, by getting a coach that can, again, you know, help me as far as my accountability. They can help me with a specific, with a specific strength or goal that we have in mind that I may not be able to navigate, you know, on my own. Say, you know, publishing a book. I can't do that on my own. Jesus, coffee, and prayer. You know what I'm saying? You know, recognizing that I cannot. And so I've always just surrounded myself with people that I felt like I could learn from. You know, I don't know all things, you know, not that I think that people around me know all things either, but I'm I'm going to make sure that when I see that I recognize, that I acknowledge their strengths, I acknowledge their giftings, and then do what I can to learn, you know, from them. And at the same time, you do what I can as well to sow into their lives. And I think, you know, that goes back to what I said earlier. You know, that's the part of, you're your biggest commodity. Invest in yourself, and you invest in yourself through collaboration, like, you know, it's connecting to people, and in connecting to people, being willing to give, you know, and they will, you know, they'll naturally want to give back to you as well.
Absolutely, Queen. I am very much the same way. It's not about riding somebody else's coattail or, oh, well, I just want to be, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about mutually. You have different types of relationships. We're not talking about a parasitic relationship, because there are those that you must absolutely, as God continues to elevate you and bring you in different arenas and different circles, you have to be leery of that. I know I've had to personally deal with that over the last year and a half, where, you know, not that I'm Queen Bey or anything like that, but just in where God is taking me and my business and the movement, etc. You know, who's really there for me, not only just to learn, which that's going to happen organically, vice versa, but wants to shoot with me in the gym, meaning it's not just what they can get from me, right? And so two things I pray for: wisdom and discernment daily, clockwork, like probably before I pray for my children. Then I pray for my children. I mean, I pray for them, I do, but I need that. But that's going to help me. How should I rear up these children? You know, how should I deal with my hubby? How should I, you know? So I pray for those things, because I need the right people to be in my corner and me in theirs, right? So important. But if you look at your circle and you are, quote unquote, the highest in the room, you're the smartest, then how can you grow? right? It should be a balance. Or maybe you are the smartest in nonprofit or in me in publishing or whatever the case may be, but then the other elements, they bounce off of each other. It's not always about getting per se the like exact same mind, but it's about complementing. Who
Yes.
compliments
Yes.
you? Who do you compliment, right? So if I struggle in this area, then guess what? This queen may compliment me. So it's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, who is doing great in these areas that I need for my business or my personal life or my nonprofit, whatever, and
Yes.
lining and linking up with them if that's the will of God. So I'm completely with you. I have always, hey, look, my whole thing is I don't have to be the highest, the smartest, the whatever. And there's queens in my circle, PhD. I talked to one queen last week. She had 3 masters, triple. When she said it, I thought she was speaking another
Wow.
language. She was like, "Oh, triple masters." I was like, "Is that Swahili?" She was like, "No, 3 masters, 1 master in this." That. I was like, "Okay, queen, well, dang, okay, congratulations." But and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because we complement each other and we make each other better together, and that's what it's all about. So I absolutely love that. So as we kind of wrap up, tell these queens what you got coming down the pike that you can share, okay? Because I know I talked to some queens and they got contracts and confidential. I mean, just high and, fancy ladies. But if there's anything you can share that you've got going on coming into, later November, in November, December, that you can share, please share with the queens and tell them how they can support you.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to make sure that I just talk a little bit, I mentioned earlier, Jesus Coffee and Prayer as far as, marketing, publishing. So I have an anthology coming out in November. We should kick off pre-sales in November, towards the latter end of November sometime. And it's called Leading with Uncommon Courage. And so I have about 20 authors, and they are telling their stories about having dealt with some type of limited thinking. And so, their victory stories of, how they were able to, move on from divorce. Some of them were surrounding business, launching their business, and are having sat, on the back seat for a long time and finally getting the courage to be able to move forward in that. And so I just believe that as women, we wear a lot of hats. And a lot of times we are waiting, yes, we are waiting again for people to give us permission or to pull us along. And so I believe the stories that we are able to share, my testimony is not built for me. My testimony is really built, I believe, in order to help bring other people along in their journey. And so Leading with Uncommon Courage, you guys can learn more about the book at uncommoncourage.cc. I would love to have you all connect with me in regard to that. And then as I remember I mentioned earlier about just being able to kind of coach and help nonprofit directors. And so if someone is interested in help with that, you can catch me at my nonprofitpro.com. And I am currently open. I have a few more slots for a half-day workshop coming up in November. If you're a nonprofit director or a founder and you're needing help with that, again, you can reach me at my email address is Tiffany at uncommoncourage.cc or Tiffany at my nonprofitpro.com. And one last thing, Success Women's Conference, we just finished up with that last week, but we are going to do another conference in January. And so Success Women's Conference, successconference.info, you can find out more about that on our website, or you connect with us on Facebook.
Fantastic. Love it. Super excited. My queens are always in the mix, got things coming down the pike. So if you heard her, she got the book. You need to go ahead and cop that and stay connected with that. She's also got her coaching. She's got a half-a-day program that's available. So calling all nonprofit directors or those who aspire to be or less than 5 years, you need to get with this queen because she knows what she's doing. And then they've also got round 2 of their Success Women's event dropping off in January. So just get connected. You'll see the links below where you can follow her on Facebook, Instagram, the whole movement, and get connected, get registered, and just get in the know because success leaves clues. Queen, you are the bomb.com, moving, shaking, empowering women all over the world and just so humble. I will say you definitely are one of the more humble spirits that I've encountered, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. You know, the word says if you humble yourself before his mighty hand, look, and it's obvious, it's evident in what he's doing in your life and how he's using you to connect with other people and just to soar and make an impact and build the legacy for you and your family. So such a blessing. I love to have a bird's eye view, a fly view or whatever. I love to see my queens winning and I'm just like, oh, you know, on
Thank
the
you.
sideline. So I love that. So God bless
I
you and
appreciate
thank
that.
you. Any
Thank you for having me.
no, absolutely. Anytime. Anytime I do anything, you already know. You just have to look at your schedule, your itinerary. You're a busy lady to chase down, honey. I had to send somebody for it, Jesus. But what I was gonna say is any final tip as we round out, any final tip you want to give the queens, any last words of encouragement before we shut it down?
Yeah, I would just kind of just do just a quick recap. Let's just say, hey, if you are, if you're out there and you have a vision and you have some goals, like, it's time to believe. Just believe in yourself. Let go of any self-limited or any thoughts, any limitations that other people have put on you. Let that stuff go. You are your greatest commodity. Lean into the voice that you hear in your heart and give yourself permission to soar, because you can. You can.
Love it. Y'all give it up for Tiffany Bell, my queen over here. Thank you so much again for being here. You've been fantastic. This is your girl, Minister Nakita Davis, the proud CEO and founder of Jesus Coffee and Prayer Christian Publishing House, the #1 Christian publishing house in the land. And you've just witnessed another amazing episode of Success Leaves Clues. We love y'all. God bless y'all. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.